Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Women don't use mathematics to find a man attractive. Women don't use mathematics to find a man attractive. This is very important because you'll have several men and they want to break out the measuring stick for everything. You know, they measure in jaws and they measure in height and stuff like that, thinking, oh, well, if you're this height and your jaw is at this angle and all of that, or even, you know, how much money they're making, all of this stuff. And then they can't figure out why a woman is going for a guy rather, who doesn't match those measurements. Women don't use measurements. Even some women who publicly say, oh, I want a guy 6 feet. You know, that's just a general term. See, you gotta understand womanese. They'll say something, but it don't mean precisely what they're saying. Like if they say they want a guy 6 feet, basically all they're saying is they want a guy who's tall. A woman ain't, if a guy is 5'10", if the woman's 5'2", or if she could be 5'5", and the guy is 5'10", and stuff, she can't really tell the difference between him and a 6-footer. She really can't. Because either way she's looking up, her neck is craning up a bit. So they'll say that. And then even with, you know, they ain't measuring jaw lines or stuff like that. Women just either like a man or they don't. And in fact, even that 1 to 10 scale, now they might use, if a man asks them, okay, rate a guy, yeah, they'll translate it, but among themselves, they just use adjectives, you know? And I've spoken on this before. Shout out Nicole Michelle. She had talked about, you know, women checking out a guy who's sexy, fine, or husband cute, or anything else. And it all, you know what, when they looking at a guy, the bottom line is they're not using logic. In fact, it should be logical to men that they're not. If women were doing it that way, they wouldn't there wouldn't be any problems. Everything would be good. We wouldn't be talking about relationships now. You know water boils at a certain temperature. You know it freezes at a certain temperature. And everything. Science is science. A is A. 1 equals 1. If it just came down to measurements, we wouldn't have a problem. As long as a person matches that measurement, they wouldn't have a problem. Like I use the example again, like you got some guys say, well, the guys, you know, his jaw got to measure like this. He has to be 6'2". He has to have this percentage of body fat and all of that. And, you know, it sounds good to say, but how come you get a guy who will have that jaw that women supposedly have, that height that women supposedly want, and even a percentage of body fat that they supposedly want, and then the guy's still having problems? Yet you get some guy who doesn't matches any of that. You know, he'll have a good body build. He might have a rounder face and all of that, and his height might be under that, you know, that standard of 6 feet. And yet he can't get rid of women. He got multiple women. And shoot, he got kids by multiple women and stuff. Shoot, the women lined up for him. See, the thing is this, it all comes down to, see, mathematics is logic. Math is straight, math is math. 1 + 1 always equals 2. It's nothing, there's no subjective way you can look at that. It's there. It's like you can't do anything. But when you're talking about relationships and attraction, it's not subjective. I mean, it's not objective. Like I'm famous for on the Game Kings documentary by shout out Mr. Lucario and Miles Cunningham. It is a clip he always uses in a preview where I say a woman will suck a man's dick off of his shoes. There is zero logic in that. There's zero logic. It's some shoes. What they got to do with this personality or something? Yet. And I've shared there's several content creators, bigger content creators, who talk about women going crazy over a man's shoes. Several. If you listen to women, they going crazy. Where's the logic in that? There's zero logic in that. Okay, yeah, they got some nice Italian joints. Where's the logic in that? Now, some people try to attribute logic to it, but it comes down to how the shoes look. Where's the logic in that? That guy could have stole the shoes. It don't mean he's making money or anything. He could have just got lucky at like some Goodwill or some secondhand place or something, some consignment store. He could have just got lucky and got them. He could have got them from an outlet. It don't speak to how much money he got. It don't speak to his character. Yet a man's style, how he look, drives women crazy. You know, where's the logic in the man's haircut? Now, some people will try to say, well, you know, they women like men with a certain amount of hair. Man, they like men who's, you got some women like some guys who are shaved. Well, there's no logic in it. But they just like it. They just like it. See, here's the thing, and men gotta understand this. When women are looking at a guy, they're not just looking with their eyes. They feeling with their vagina. They feeling with their heart. And there's no logic in it. You say, well, even let me use a vagina example. You know, you get some guys who's thinking, well, your joint has to measure a certain amount of inches to turn women on. It depends on the woman. You got some women with some shallow vaginas and stuff. The average vagina is 4 inches. The average man's penis is 5. So he should be good to go. He should be good to go and stuff. And even then, women like a certain size. They like a certain girth. You got some women, hey, you pretty much got to be a baseball bat. Some other women shoot a baseball bat, they screaming. They like, oh no, and stuff. There's no logic to it. What we consider logic. See, women, like I said, it's always important to understand. Women don't follow that. If that was the case, use some common sense. Seriously, if that was the case, we would have any problems. 1 + 1 always equals 2. Water always boils at a certain temperature. Water always freezes at a certain temperature. Logic is more science. If there was a science to it, wouldn't be any issues. Now, you get some men constantly trying to apply science and measurements and all of that to it. Is it working for them? Seriously. Like I said, how you have situations where you have some man who has all the measurements that other men say a man needs to have, and they still having trouble. Meanwhile, some guy who goes totally against it and everything, oh shoot, he got more women than he know what to deal with. Seriously. I want you to seriously, dudes got to think out here. Dudes got to really think. Women, they don't do it. Like, why would a woman, seriously, why would a woman who's married to a guy who might have all the stuff on the surface, including money and status, have a long-running affair with some guy who has none of those things? Why they cheating with the pool boy? I want y'all to think about that, seriously. And see, once you understand that, see, you know, you got a lot of content creators talking about a woman's nature. Here's the beauty of it. Once you understand a woman's nature, then you don't worry about stuff. You just present your best self and then see which women are responding to that. Because trust me, women are looking at, you don't even know what a woman looking at. I've told a story several times of a woman, I thought she was liking everything about me physically, education. She was liking stuff I was doing for family because she was very family orientated. Seriously. You know what? And even then, even with the attraction thing, it could be some behavior that you do that makes you attractive to the woman. It could be some behavior because they are influenced by every single thing. Yes, they're influenced by your looks, your physicality. You know, I talk body game for a reason, but they also influence, okay, is the guy confident? Is the man confident? Last week in a video that I was interviewing Cousin T-Tar, what did he say? Confidence is contagious. It's a real thing. It's not some cliche. You know, he could have been nice to her. He could have just caught at the wrong, not the wrong time, the right time. I was about to say the wrong time. Shoot, depending on the situation, maybe it was, but he could have just caught at the right time. They could have just been, you know, she ain't thinking anything of him, but, you know, just that conversation. See, even though women generally choose a man like in the first few seconds, sometimes if that man is in a position where she can get to know him, he grows on her. All of a sudden, he starts becoming better looking. You know, and what some other men would consider imperfections, all of a sudden looks adorable to her. She might be like, yeah, you know what? He's not that tall, but he's a hard worker. He's funny. He's all of that. All of a sudden, that imperfection doesn't look as bad to her. That's just the woman's nature. I'm going to tell you something now. I remember my grandmother broke the game. She broke down women. She said they got to be emotional because when they have a child, you get one child who, like if she used the example, 2 girl children. The first child is like very girly, feminine and everything. The other one wants to be a boy. She said the mother got to love them equally. For the human race to go on, if women were, let's put it like this, if women were applying logic, we wouldn't have a population issue. The human population probably would have been in the millions. In fact, this might be the planet of the dolphins because the human race might have died out if they were applying logic to it. And like I said at the beginning, if women were applying logic, we wouldn't have any relationship issues. 1 + 1 always equals 2. Always. If things work that way, we wouldn't have any problems, period. But no, as long as you got a woman's nature and stuff. Now, now I've said before, women can be pragmatic. It's still not necessarily logical because they pragmatic in getting somebody who's going to meet their needs. They pragmatic. So they don't have to lust that person. If they realize, hey, I need somebody who's going to be a companion, who's going to take care of me, protect, provide. Oh yeah, well, him. And even then, ain't always logical who they're going to get with. Even then, might not be any logic to it. That's just the nature. And you know what, they need it. Some guys want them to think differently. Hold up. Just by a woman's nature, they need to have feelings and emotions because they are the ones who birth the children. They need to do it just for that reason. And indeed, if they use many men watching this, let's just be real, many men watching this and might have disagreements with what I'm saying. You wouldn't be watching this. You might not have been watching this if your mother had applied logic and mathematics to choosing your father. I want you to think about that. Many people, y'all wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't be here to do it. All right? And I hit stuff like this because we got to start being realistic out this building. All right? So anyway, that's all I have for today, y'all. I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.